Welcome to Subramani. Whatever data I give you, right, and ask you to predict, it is almost impossible to predict what the market will do in the future. Take very successful companies, very good results, and the share price doesn't move up. Look at Coke, look at Pepsi. Overall, the consumption of sugar and sugary drinks is falling in the US. It's not so bad in India, and with all that, the price of Coca-Cola share has not done too badly, right? Similarly, tobacco prices have fallen. Tobacco consumption has fallen, definitely fallen in the US, but the share prices have not done too badly. Amazon does not show any profit, and its share price has done well. But remember, you could never have sat through the gut-wrenching bad times of Amazon or Google or Alphabet, any of those. I mean Alphabet, Apple. All these companies have gone through very very good times and very very bad times. So the ability to stick around with gut-wrenching bad results is bad. Price. The results may not have been so bad, but Amazon never chases profits, but the share price has done well. Companies which have paid huge dividends in the past, people look at it and say, oh, they have no business ideas and therefore they are paying dividends. Companies which don't pay dividends are looked at and say, I don't believe that the company is earning so much. If they are really earning so much, why are they not paying it out as dividend, right? So all kinds of things work in your mind. So the data is pretty useless for you to decide how the market will be in the future. Apart from the fact that all this data is pretty useless to predict the future, you also don't know how people are going to think about it in the future about investing. Take my own family. Both my grandfathers were government servants, and they would hold on to their life for their job simply because they needed that salary on that day, and they knew that they were going to get a lifetime pension. They and their wife, which means my grandmother, both of them were protected by family pension, right? So they had that protection. So they would not, you could put 16 horses to pull them away, but they would never have given up their government job. Given this background, to ask why they never invested in equities is absolutely ridiculous. My grandfather was very happy when my father got him 1.5% more interest in a private company. I still remember it was H&R Johnson, and my grandfather had a fixed deposit there running for, hold your breath, 28 years. It would just get renewed. Rate of interest, nothing mattered. For him, what mattered was that 3,000 rupees was safe, because my father told him it is safe, because we had a friend working there who said don't worry, and he got it back. It's not that he did not get it back. Now it takes one generation like that, and then my father and my mama, because my parental, my father's side and my mother's side both were government servants, and their sons went on to become very senior executives in the industry, which meant both my dad and my mama did not have to support their parents. Right? The parents were well off in the sense they had a pension, etc. So my father or my uncle did not have to pay for their parents, maybe a little bit, but they never hurt them, right? You can't say that for many people of that generation, because they had to support their parents, and they would have 8-9 children, and so you have to pay for younger kids school fees and marriage of sisters. My uncle and my dad did not have to do all that. That perhaps gave them more confidence to invest in equities than many of my other cousins, right? They did not, or my dad's cousins and my mom's cousins. They did not invest in equities, but I can understand, because for them that risk-taking ability was not there. They needed that money. They needed that money for their daughter's education, for their daughter's marriage, and things like that. So they would not take risk, or they did not understand the risk of inflation, whatever. That gave confidence to the generation after that. I did not seek employment even for one day. Not even for one day of my life I was I was in salaried. I was handling the practice of another person, where I was also developing my own practice. Then I went to equities, etc., etc. That confidence came from the fact that I knew I would not have to give anything to my dad. In fact, I would inherit more. So that confidence comes from years of not having to withdraw money in an emergency, which means in March 2020 I was hard enough to know that the market will recover, so this is a great time to be investing. Not everybody can do that, right? So using the past data to predict the future is not going to be easy, because you have to predict two things: how is the market expectations today, what is the market expecting today. And I think it's sheer madness. If you look at the PE, I think people are people expecting 20% growth, 25% growth, I don't know, but expectation is definitely high, therefore the PE is high. Second, what will be the expectation in the future? In the future, if the expectation is the same, nobody is going to invest. So there has to be a time when the market has to fall, where you will get time to buy. The question is, when it falls, will you have the ability to buy, or will you be scared saying, oh my god, there is too much excess in the market, there is too much of borrowing, let me wait for all the toxicity to go away. All the toxicity will never go away. Market is not going to wait for you for it to go up. So the market will go down, maybe 20% it will go down, that's a big fall, and then it could go up 22%, right? So all the loss could be recovered in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 10 years, right? We don't know any of this. So with all this data running in your head, and somebody asks you what will happen to the market in 2 years, 3 years, the best answer that all of us can give is, I don't know. Now I'm sure somebody is going to comment and say, if you don't know, why are you making a video saying you don't know? It's because I know I don't know. You think you know, but you don't know. That is the big difference. And I mean, look at the American economy. Will the American economy do well? Yes, no, you don't know what is going to happen. Look at the Chinese economy. Is the Chinese economy doing well? No. But remember, China will still grow at a rate better than what the whole of Europe is going to grow. Japan, France, UK, Germany, none of them are going to grow at the same rate at which China is going to grow. So China is actually not so bad an investment destination compared to, say, Europe. But having said that, is Europe on the path to recovery? Maybe it is. Maybe it has already seen some bottom, and maybe it's you can see some green shoots, and it may be a good time to invest, saying, oh, in China we don't know what is going to happen. So with all this data, with all this coming in, and you having to predict with all this, all the numbers, and you can't predict, is market expectation high, and what will the market expectation be tomorrow? These are two questions which you will never be able to answer, right? If you can't answer these two questions, how are you going to decide how will the PE be? Today the PE is 20. Will it go to 25 and then go back to 12, or will it go from 25 to 12? Or will it go from 25 to 20 and remain there for 5 years and then go up to 25? None of this we know, right? Because PE is market expectations of today and market expectations of tomorrow. We don't have an answer for all that. So also there is not enough evidence about rational behavior of people. There is no evidence about rational behavior of countries, right? So a weak US, which is with Kamala and Biden, still, and in bad shape in terms of economy, the amount of borrowing, I think the interest payments are greater than their defense budget. They still have the ability to do a regime change in Bangladesh. It's none of their business, but they're doing it, right? So will all this happen? All these things are going to impact your share price, right? So suppose you had invested in a company which had 4 factories in Bangladesh. Obviously that share would have taken a hit, right? A big hit, because you don't even know whether you're going to collect money from insurance. You do not know when the problem will be solved. Now, 10 years later, 5 years later, somebody will look and say, oh, XYZ had 4 factories in Bangladesh, therefore the share price went down, the Bangladesh problem was sorted out in 6 months, see how much the share price has gone up. Yes, in retrospect you can say that, but today if you have to take a decision whether to invest in a company which is located 4 factories in Bangladesh, the answer may be, oh my god, no, I don't think this problem is going to be solved, it is going to become another Afghanistan, another Pakistan, whatever, what have you. Right, we are going to talk about all those things. So getting your mind to be in control, taking all the data, analyzing it, comparing it to the macro, and then knowing whether the market expectations today is high, whether it is going to be higher tomorrow or lower tomorrow. All these things are necessary to be able to predict the market, which none of us can, and therefore have a strategy which is very good, which you can stick through during good times and bad times, and have enough cash to sit through bad times, right? So in this market, sitting on cash of 5-6 years expenses is not a bad idea for a retired person, and 2 years expenses for a person who is in employment, because who is still bringing in money, who does not have to touch the portfolio for their day-to-day expenses. So these two are the only things you can do, because you and understand that you cannot predict what will happen in the future, which brings me to this. I know in the next 10-15 years of my investing, there will be one time when the market will fall 50%. Does that worry me? Does that bother me? No. What bothers me is, will I be in the mental condition to accept a 50% fall, or will I panic? I can only control my behavior. Market will fall. I have to just stay steady. March 2020, I was a buyer. April 2020, I was a buyer. September 2020, I was a beneficiary of the buying that I had done. Is it luck? Yes, of course it is luck. Could it have happened after a year? Yes. But did I have the waiting period for 1 year? Yes. I got the benefit in 3 months. That's just luck, right? So knowing what the market will do is important, and knowing that you do not know when it will happen is also important, which means you have to sit on cash. Like someone said, having cash during bull market is very difficult. But this is like building a bridge. You know there will be overloading, and when there is overloading, the bridge should not fall. You should not become bankrupt during that period when the market has fallen. That's important. That is where cash comes in. Thank you.